What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And Tesla had a massive day today, coming off of earnings. Expected this move to come last night, but I think needed to be some digestion, essentially because of the fact that Tesla could have crushed it even more than they already did. But with the pandemic and everything going on and chip shortages and supply issues, it was it was still incredible that the fact they were still to overcome and essentially produce the numbers that they have. Being said, after the bell today, Snap, see if I can find it here, Snap. Now, this is very telling. Snap CEO came out and essentially said that because of supply issues, they are not advertising as much because they don't have the products. So being said, Google, Amazon, Twitter all took a massive hit after hours. Google took a massive hit as well, especially because Snap being a leader in the ad space. Facebook took a massive hit today. Now, it did bounce off of these. A lot of these fell directly down into the 200 moving average on the daily and bounced. It did wick back up to the 200. It did hit 315, as you can see on Facebook. Now, where do we go from here? If we look at the futures right now, Bitcoin actually pulled quite a bit back as well because of essentially Bitcoin crashed on a couple different platforms. So I had a bit of a pullback on Bitcoin today as well earlier this morning. But futures right now, things don't look bad on the futures. Things pulled back, but considering the amount of weight that Google, Facebook, Amazon, Shop, a lot of these, I don't even know where Amazon's recovering. But the fact that it took such a massive hit is concerning because of the fact we know there's inflation. Yes, the Fed has been kind of just saying it's transitory. I believe it to be transitory, but again, it's going to take a while, essentially, for supply to catch up. So with that being said, where does that leave us? Essentially, we have to look at it. There are a lot of different reports talking about Christmas, in that the supply is essentially not going to meet the demand coming up for Christmas, and that people should be essentially ordering all their stuff now before Christmas gets here. This is going to be concerning. Also, Amazon took a major hit in the customers in the last earnings. Now, is that going to play a bigger role, especially with supply issues that are currently essentially, we're seeing the supply issues being so bad that it's starting to hit ad revenue. Being said, yes, everybody's going to go to Amazon and shop. That's where people know. But it will be telling when the earnings come out for Amazon. And so that surprised a lot of people, essentially, with what happened with Snap. So being said, of course, your Google and your Facebook are definitely going to take major hits going into tomorrow. Again, how much weight they're going to pull down the market, because you do have Tesla, who's done extremely well. And I believe a lot of the money will transition into Tesla tomorrow. Possibly, maybe even more into cloud services, because supply isn't impacted as badly with the cloud services. So we may see Tesla push up, and possibly Apple and Microsoft leading the way, because you're going to have other parts of FANG that are going to sell off. And so, again, selling, this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see essentially what Snap would do with ad revenue. Now we're seeing what is playing out. Now we're going to see what is going to happen with the rest of the earnings. Yes, people are still hyped about the earnings and all that, and I think that's what's kind of just holding us up. Banks did good for earnings, but we still have to see. Next week is really going to be telling with Apple. How's Apple going to do? And with Facebook, especially after Snap, I would expect Facebook to take just as big of a hit. In the last earnings, they did take a hit, right? And so being said, there's still, I think there's a lot of concern there, and there's a lot more caution there than expected. Yes, we knew there was inflation, but now we're starting to see direct impacts of companies. And when it starts directly impacting these companies coming out in these earnings, that starts to be concerning when your number one ad, essentially one of your number one ad revenue businesses is losing money because of that fact. Now, being said, again, we're going to see that Facebook next week, and we got Google. We got Facebook on Monday, and then we got Google on Tuesday. So we're really going to see what essentially happens. For me, I'm going to definitely be trading a lot lighter and definitely sticking the ones that aren't based off of ad revenue. And then I think even your Amazons, your Shopify, and all those, your e-commerce space, I think we have to wait and see what happens. Just because they're not advertising, okay, I can see that, but we have to see what happens with Amazon. Amazon, again, everybody knows about Amazon. Everybody shops at Amazon. So what does Amazon bring to the table? So that's ultimately what we're looking at. Again, SPY, again, the futures, they don't look bad. They're still holding. The futures actually look, they wanted to gap up before we got the snap earnings. Again, the supply issue is starting to become more of a forefront now. I think Wall Street is starting to realize how much of a impact it's actually making. Again, we had talks from the Fed members the other day talking about actually moving up the increase in rate raises because of what's actually starting to pan out. We've also had supply chains essentially open 24/7 as well. So is that going to help? Is that going to help relieve everything? It's still going to take a while for things to catch up. That being said, we're going to see the impact that it's having on this quarter's revenue. So the rest of the earnings are going to be quite interesting. So again, this video is more of a state of the market because I want to see what we're going to do overnight, the digestion of, okay, well, now ads have taken a major hit. So, that takes out a lot of, could impact Amazon, could impact Shopify, but most definitely impacts Facebook and your Googles and your Twitters. But being said, what happens from that point? Like Microsoft, right? Technology, you definitely have Apple technology, right? Those things should be okay. So we have to see how it plays out. But ultimately, going into tomorrow, again, trading light, going to go slow. I want to see what happens. Again, if you don't follow me at Beta Memoirs, I normally do a morning call, kind of look over pre-market, see what's going on, and kind of give you a heads up on what I'm looking at, how I view the state of the market in the morning. I get a better judge, especially after overnight session, trying to determine what is going on there. But again, tomorrow I want to see what's holding and what's not. So tomorrow's more of a feeler, and again, seeing what has strength. I do believe Tesla could have a second day to run if the market holds. I think it's very much possible. Aside from that, I am holding a Tesla position, but I am aside from that, I'm cash. So being said, my exposure is very limited to just Tesla. Again, it has its own ecosystem, so that's what's helping it. And a lot of these companies are doing that. Amazon has very much created its own ecosystem, so it'd be interesting to see how it is doing through again this next quarter, because they were losing clients essentially on the last quarter. So we have to see how this plays out. So if you've made it this far, remember, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.